NTA. You can't beat the rich.
Information is power. Everyone wants power. So feel powerful with the NTA News mobile app, the one-stop information center. Real news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the U-Report link, and be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines, domestic and foreign news, economy, security, politics, sports, and more. Stream live on your smartphone and tablets and stay connected. It's pretty easy. Simply download NTA News app from your Google Play Store and you're good to go. NTA News mobile app, your access to real-time information.
The finals of the Men and Women African Cup of Nations. It's always frenetic. On days such as this, there are no tribes, no religion. Here, Nigerian warriors are out to represent, to show the skills that makes us the best. On days like this, the color is one. The color is green. When we get the job done, it is because we have stuck together. When we celebrate, we stand together. Nigerians, united in victory. We are Nigerians. We are one.
Are you aware that the death percentage attributed to Lassa fever cases is currently put at 43 points?
Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We thank you for joining us. I am Lydia Bassey. The federal government has disengaged the heads of the 6 information-related parastatals under the Ministry of Information and Culture. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, announced the disengagement during a meeting he held with the chief executives of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, Voice of Nigeria, VON, News Agency of Nigeria, NAN, National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, and the National Orientation Agency, NOA, on Monday. The minister directed the disengaged chief executives to hand over to the most senior officials in their various establishments. In a statement signed by Segun Adeyemi, Special Assistant to the minister thanked them for their service to the nation and wished them the best of luck in their future endeavors. The affected chief executives are the Directors General of NTA, Mr. Shola Omole, of National Center for Women Development, Industrial Training Fund, Nigerian Export-Import Bank, and National Agency for Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons and other related matters. President Buhari thanked them for their invaluable services. The federal government says it is upgrading Integrated Personnel and Payroll Information System, IPPIS, to remove all impediments against the payment of salaries of workers. Head of Service of the Federation, Winifred Oyoita Ekanem, made this known at a one-day Oracle IPPIS workshop in Abuja. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday reports.
This is one of the Integrated Personnel and Payroll Information System office, charged with the responsibility of disbursing salaries of civil servants. The office sometimes faces challenges that it could not handle.
The Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation can have a timetable to visit each parastatal to make sure that the staff that has this problem, their files are on ground.
From April, January, February, and March 2015, salaries were paid. But that of the 2014, for October, November, December, even as I speak to you now, is not paid.
What do we do with them? So I think
it is in a bid to tackle such cases that necessitated this forum, organized by the Office of the Head of Service.
I think at this point, I agree with you that
currently, the 2 major components, human resources and payroll, have been activated and are live. But only the payroll is being automated, while the human resources is still being run manually.
We cannot continue halfway manual, halfway IT. There will be those teething problems, definitely. But I believe that what we experienced in December, when we tried to integrate, will be addressed as the pilot commences.
It's the political will and the ability to drive through an implementation like this, that will make the difference. Technically, Nigeria has all the capability to implement this.
As the human resources and payroll modules are being upgraded, the harmonization is expected to enhance speed and accuracy. Adebola Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
Thanks, Adebola. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has again called on Nigerians to give total support to the military in its efforts to consolidate the great achievements it had recorded in the fight against Boko Haram. The minister made the call at the launch of a private news magazine, C Magazine, in Abuja. Anthony Forson reports.
The troops have paid the supreme price in liberating communities hitherto held by the terrorists to such an extent that no community today is exclusively in the hands of Boko Haram.
Irrespective of what anyone may say, our gallant military has succeeded in decimating Boko Haram. Yes, they may be operating fugitively from one or two areas, but they are doing so from a position of weakness. Unlike in the past, when they brazenly took over territories, hosted their flags, deposed and imposed emirs, and even collected taxes.
To this end, as Nigerians, he said, we owe it a duty to support the troops and not to condemn them. The minister commended the magazine for featuring in its launch edition the details of the reconstruction, resettlement and rehabilitation efforts being undertaken by the federal and state governments in the northeast, especially in Borno State. He commended the founder of the magazine, Khadija Abdullahi Iya, for her innovation and creativity and solicited support for her enterprise. Borno State Governor Kashim Shettima, who was represented by his deputy, expressed confidence in the magazine, saying it has brought to the fore the plight of internally displaced persons, as well as efforts of the state and federal government in overcoming the crisis created by insurgency. In his remarks, chairman of SI Magazine and a popular columnist, Malam Muhammad Haruna, said the magazine is set out to bring to the fore unreported issues like the suffering of women and children in the internally displaced persons camps across the country and efforts being made to rebuild communities destroyed by Boko Haram. He said the magazine is leveraging on technology to zoom its lenses on the value system and promote the nation's cultural heritage. On her part,
over 2.5 million people currently occupying 25 camps in the state capital, noting with delight that the federal government has rendered numerous assistance for the upkeep of the IDPs.
The IDPs that you will see at the Daruri camp and the over 25 IDP camps in Maiduguri constitute only an infinitesimal fraction of the number of the internally displaced. And most of our homes, there is hardly anyone here that is not hosting 50 to 100 IDPs in their homes.
Leader of the delegation and senior special assistant on IDPs in the office of the Vice President, Dr. Mariam Masha, said they were in the state to assess the situation on ground, adding that federal government is very much concerned about the rebuilding of the Northeast region. She said they have visited 5 states where they discussed how to bring succor to the IDPs. Speaking on behalf of international donor agencies, Mrs. Anne Mary Claudia said, in the course of their visit, they will assess damages done to infrastructure, peace building, as well as sensitive needs of the IDPs and economic generation. She stressed that youth and gender issues are topmost on their agenda and assured the governor of their determination to give priority to those areas in the next 2 years. In Maiduguri, Yagum Subukar, NTA News.
Disturbed over huge amounts of money Nigeria spends annually on importation of wheat and flour, the federal government is partnering with wheat-producing states to boost the production of the commodity nationwide. Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Chief Audogbe, said the federal government would support the states with inputs and milling machines. The minister stated this as he inspected wheat farms in Kano, northwest Nigeria. Musa Baba Aliu has more.
Few days ago, Kano City and its environs experienced scarcity of bread due to high cost of flour and wheat, which are the major ingredients for bread production. Investigations revealed that Nigeria rely heavily on importation of the commodities for both domestic and commercial purposes.
The reason why the price of flour has risen or the price of wheat has risen is clear. Initially, the millers are getting foreign exchange to purchase foreign wheats and brought into the country. And the dollar was a little bit moderate. But now the dollar has escalated. And the room for taking just a foreign exchange to go and import is no more there.
Kano State has about 120 egg dams with about 3 million hectares of land under cultivation. With these advantages, agriculturalists say the state can produce wheat in large quantity for local and international market. It is in view of this that the state government embarked on massive mobilization and support to wheat and rice producers in the state.
This administration has approved for the procurement of 2 combined harvesters to assist the both wheat and rice farmers in attaining maximum harvest of their yields.
Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development said federal government will support Kano and other wheat producing states with inputs and implement to boost the production nationwide.
We tried some years ago. International politics did not allow us to continue. But now we have no money to buy wheat and we need to eat wheat. So thank God the time has come. Nobody can stop us now. We'll grow our own wheat and eat our own wheat.
From Kano, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
In order to carry the private sector along the development of the Federal Capital Territory, the Minister, Mohammed Musa Bello, has held discussions with the manufacturers on how they can participate. Mitaire Ekben reports.
So involves chains of activities that engage many hands and create employment. Acknowledging this fact, the FCT Minister, Mohammed Musa Bello, appealed to the executives of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, to help attract manufacturing companies to the territory, assuring that his administration is willing to allocate land for manufacturing purposes in the industrial zones of Abuja.
We are thinking of some time later in the year to do an economic summit involving you, others in commerce, others from outside, so that we can relook at the city itself as it is and then discuss thoroughly as to where and how do we want to move the city forward, especially in terms of economic and commercial activities. What will be the role of government? What will be the role of the organized private sector like you?
President of MAN, Frank Jacobs, pointed out that the issue of multiple taxation is a restraining factor for manufacturers who are interested in setting up their industries in Abuja.
Manufacturers are usually subjected to undue harassment by tax consultants engaged by these municipal councils. There is need for harmonization of these taxes and levies in the Federal Capital Territory in order to promote orderliness in tax administration and engender willful compliance of the tax-paying corporate citizens.
The manufacturers also appealed to the FCT administration to develop the Idu Industrial Zone by providing basic infrastructure in the zone to attract manufacturing companies. In Abuja, Mitaire Ekben, NTA News.
Away from Abuja, Governor of Cross River State Ben Ayade says his administration is open to as many investors who share in his vision to create a sustainable economy to better the living conditions of the citizenry. The governor said this in Calabar when he received the ambassador of Ireland to Nigeria, Mr. Sean Hoy. Tessie Oje reports.
It's aimed at boosting development in the Niger Delta. With a start-off on Cross River State, Governor Ben Ayade said is apt and timely, given the progress of ongoing projects embarked upon by the present administration. The governor reiterated that the success of a developing economy lies in its focus on people-oriented projects aimed at transforming the lives of the citizenry. Highlighting the challenges in the Niger Delta to include bunkering, vandalization of pipelines, water pollution, kidnapping, amongst others, Governor Ayade called on the Irish government to adopt a local approach in resolving the burning desire for redemption in the Niger Delta.
It's critical because there is no amount of development that can come to the Niger Delta if this cardinal issue of youth restiveness, tension in the land is not addressed. Otherwise, we'll be building in vain.
Ambassador Sean Hoy recalled the long-standing relationship between the state and his country, which dates back to over 100 years, and expressed his desire to sustain the union through public-private partnership.
And the embassy are working with the Savannah Center on an initiative that we want to look at a way of trying to make development work better in the south of Nigeria. And this is a particular area in the Niger Delta, but we have chosen Calabar for a number of reasons, and one of them is the partnership that Ireland wants to develop with Cross Rivers.
Tessie Oje, NTA News.
This is Nationwide. Customs hands over drug to National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, as Minister of Interior visits Lagos. Ademola will give us more information on this and more. Over to you, Demola.
Thank you, Lydia. Good afternoon and welcome to Lagos. The Nigeria Customs Service has handed over a 4.50 kilogram of cannabis to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, in Lagos. The controller, Western Marine Command, Umar Yusuf, who handed over the drugs, restated customs' commitment to collaborate with other government agencies in ensuring that contraband goods and unwholesome products are not brought into the Nigerian markets.
The comptroller said the 48 bales of cannabis, otherwise known as Indian hemp, were being ferried into the country in 4 boats. The boats, he said, were intercepted along the waterways at Igbo Ojanla near Badagry with a suspect whose name is Bala Mamudu.
They came in from Ghana, according to information we got. If we had allowed these dangerous drugs to get into our country, only God knows what will happen. All these criminalities like armed robbery, kidnapping, sea piracy and what have you, they normally get into all these things when they become intoxicated.
People should stop patronizing things like Indian hemp because it does not do us any good. It sends people to untimely grave.
Market value of the cannabis is 150 million naira. The Indian hemp has been handed over to the NDLEA, while the suspect is expected to be charged to court by the NDLEA. The comptroller noted that the refurbishing of 14 patrol crafts is making the service patrol efforts easier, while the art boats' engines are also in good condition to combat smuggling on the waterways.
Minister of Interior, Lieutenant General Abdurrahman Dambazao, has continued the tour of government agencies under his ministry in Lagos. Bolaji Akin reports that the tour took the minister to the Police College, Ikeja, and the Nigerian Immigration Service.
At the Police College, Ikeja, the minister expressed satisfaction with facilities put in place for training of police officers. He also acknowledged that more still needed to be done in the area of officers' welfare. While inspecting the Fire Service Office at Apapa Road and Training School at Funshaw Williams Avenue, Lieutenant General Abdurrahman Dambazao explained that the deplorable condition of facilities and equipment was a result of people not recognizing the importance of fire service. He, however, promised that things will soon change for better. Speaking with men of the Nigeria Immigration Service at the Muritala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, the minister said the present administration is determined to win the war against corruption. He urged them to always exhibit professionalism in the discharge of their duty.
Leadership is very important too. You could see the difference between if you were there in the prisons today, what you saw in the maximum security prisons and what you saw in the women prison, the female prisons. The difference was very, very clear. And this tells us one thing. Leadership is very, very important. So we're going to take very seriously the issue of leadership. If anybody is given leadership position, he must take it serious and we must see results.
He also called on the Immigration Service to protect the country border and also prevent people with questionable character from gaining access to the country. In Lagos, Bolaji Akin, NTA News.
A chemist, Professor Oladele Osinbajo, says virtually all waters in the developing countries have one form of hazardous substance or the other, which makes it dangerous for human consumption. He said this at an international chemistry conference holding in Lagos. Tunde Saiki has the details.
The keynote speaker, Professor Oladele Osinbajo, said as important as water is to humans, the impact of the environment, especially garbage, industrial waste, agricultural chemicals, and pipeline vandalism perpetrated by man, have all contributed enormously to the unclean state of water in the society.
We need strong advocacy. Let the government agencies give us scientific information to guide the public that don't do your water this way, you will get it. Just like they are doing about Lassa fever and Ebola, environment deserves much more attention than that.
Organizers of the event promised to ensure that outcome of the conference will be looked into and presented to the appropriate authorities for action. Other areas the three-day conference will be considering include chemistry, a driving force for sustainable development, the role of organic chemistry and agriculture, and material chemistry in renewable energy technologies.
I want to put before the country solutions that will make clean water cheaper than what it was. We are increasing our capacity. We are increasing the laboratory capacity, the human capacity, in order to be able to show to the world that we can do things better than we used to do it.
Chemistry output of our research and innovation being disseminated so that people can see what we are doing. Most people think we are giving only problems. We are actually bringing solutions.
The International Chemistry Conference with the theme, Chemical Sciences, Solutions to Global Challenges, is a forum the organizers say is for both the students, staff and chemists to present findings and solutions to identify challenges that chemical sciences have in the past and present contributed to the degradation and ill health of the people. In Lagos, Tunde Saiki, NTA News.
Lagos State will soon be 50 years old. Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode, in preparation for the big event, has appointed Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka and an industrialist, Rashid Gbadamosi, as co-chairman of the Lagos at 50 Planning Committee. The governor expressed optimism that the celebration will go a long way in showcasing Lagos in its full splendor.
Akinwumi Ambode, while inaugurating the committee at the Lagos House Ikeja, expressed confidence in their ability to deliver a world-class celebration, adding that the opportunity of Lagos at 50 will afford the state to not only celebrate its past achievements, but also to showcase to the world its immense potentials for future growth and development.
Lagos will be 50 years next year. 50 years is a significant landmark in the life of any individual, institution, or state. For Lagos State, it has been an event for 50 years which deserves to be fittingly celebrated.
Professor Wole Soyinka said the celebration of Lagos at 50 would afford an excellent opportunity for the state to identify with the triumph, losses, and experience of the black race at home and in the diaspora.
We embarked on a certain project we call the Black in the Mediterranean Blue. The Black in the Mediterranean Blue. What's the purpose of it? What is it? All it was, we want everybody back home.
Committee also has 10 others as members in Lagos. Musa Osula, NTA News.
Well, that's our package from Lagos. It's back to you, Lydia, for more on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Many thanks, Demola. For the Nigerian economy to fare better, there is need for supplementation of macroeconomic indicators such as gross domestic product (GDP) with the total wealth of the country. That was a submission of an academician during the 12th inaugural lecture of Nasarawa State University KEFI. Mohammed Sani Awalu has details.
Professor Suleiman Arua says through researches, he realized that gross domestic product alone as an indicator does not help the economy. Hence the need for incorporation of other wealth indices such as manufactured assets, infrastructure, land, minerals, human and social capital, among others.
Apologize for the loss of audio on that film report. Moving on now, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Babachi David Lawal, has urged youths to distinguish themselves in the pursuit of academic excellence in order to stimulate the spirit of selfless service, dedication and sacrifice. Babachi Lawal was speaking at the forum to appreciate the President for the award of scholarship and automatic employment for the 2012 to 2014 combined set of the President's NYSC Honors Award in Abuja. Ilyasu Ali Yakubu completes the report.
The scholarship gesture, initiated by the federal government since 1974, is meant to encourage academic excellence among the youth. The secretary to the federal government, who was represented by Mr. Gideon Zamani, said youth remain the driving force and the building block of any great nation. Hence, the friendly policies of the present administration that will enable the Nigerian youth to unleash their numerous potentials and assume their rightful role towards nation building.
Awards are given to people that have excelled in their areas of specialization.
President of the association, Simeon Oladele, commended federal government for the award of scholarship abroad and subsequent automatic employment, said, as a way of reciprocating the gesture, the association will embark on periodic community development service project to stimulate people on the path of hard work and service to humanity.
So we need to think of what we can do for the country, not what the country can do for us.
I intend to reciprocate this.
Few years show Kano has the highest rate of drug abuse in the country. Most of the drug abused, however, are unconventional substances such as solution, lizard dung, gutter sniffing, and others such as cough syrup.
When you hear drug abuse in Kano, people are talking about these medicaments, these synthetic drugs, these psychotic substances that have been abused.
Reasons advanced for the abuse of these substances by youths between the ages of 18 and 35, including women, are extreme poverty, peer pressure, and illiteracy. 23-year-old Tanko has been a drug addict over the years spent in the university. This made it impossible for him to go for the mandatory National Youth Service, which forced his parents to bring him to this rehabilitation center.
I used to take weed, codeine, and Refnol, that's all.
Not many of the estimated 1.5 million youths are so lucky, like this 22-year-old woman.
I pray God will help us. May God help us stop this drug abuse.
We lead a campaign to arrest these people. The dealers are being arrested. We know the houses these married women are getting their hard drugs.
For Tanko, he cannot wait to be reunited with his family. But for this 22-year-old woman and many others, going back to normal life will be a long journey. In Kano, Fatima Sanusi Garai, NTA News.
Let's join our Kaduna Network Center for more on Nationwide. Suleiman is our guide. It's over to you.
Embark on massive recruitment into the Nigerian Armed Forces. The Defense Minister said this at the first council meeting of the Nigerian Defense Academy held in Kaduna. Muhammad Lol Baba has the details.
Defense Minister Mansur Dan Ali noted that there is the need for recruitment into the Nigerian Armed Forces to meet all the challenges facing the country.
Just of recent, when I was at the Defense Committee, I mentioned that the armed forces will be increased so that we enlarge the armed forces.
The Minister of Defense said the Nigerian Defense Academy has the impetus of training credible officers and therefore urged the Academy to ensure that the crop of officers it produces are of high quality. He reiterated the federal government's commitment to continue assisting the Nigerian Defense Academy. Commandant Nigerian Defense Academy Major General Muhammad Tasu Ibrahim said the Academy will continue to do its best.
The Nigerian Defense Academy Postgraduate School has continued its mission of providing higher academic education for its former cadets as well as members of the civil populace.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Defense Mansur Dan Ali inaugurated the NDA logo monument and inspected indoor gallery range, which is under construction. The Nigerian Defense Academy logo monument is no doubt depicting the strength and outstanding qualities of the academy in terms of training the cadets and academic pursuit of both the military and civilians. In Kaduna, Muhammad Lawal Baba, NTA News.
Governor Nasru Ahmad El-Rufai of Kaduna State said about 42% of teachers in the state are not qualified to teach in primary and secondary schools. Malam Nasru El-Rufai disclosed this at the inauguration of a lecture hall at Federal College of Education, Zaria. Garba Muhammad Nata'ala completes this report.
The governor said the state is partnering with Faculty of Education, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, and National Teachers Institute, among others, in teacher training program to keep the teaming teachers in the state abreast. Malam Nasru Ahmad El-Rufai noted that education is one of the priority areas his administration is giving much attention.
We do not intend to sack any teacher because he is unqualified. We'll give him a chance to upgrade his skills. It is only when he fails to do so that we'll ask him to leave, because the business of bringing up our children and teaching them cannot be negotiated or compromised.
He reiterated that as a result of the decay in the sector, stated the state government to declare a state of emergency in it. While inaugurating the lecture hall, the governor commended the management of Federal College of Education, Zaria, for transforming the college. Provost of the college, Mukhtar Ibrahim, said the lecture hall is one of its kind in all the federal colleges of education across the country.
With the support and assistance of the government, well-spirited individuals and judicious utilization of funds and laying revenue generation base, the college has now been transformed into an international repute amongst its peers.
The lecture hall has 1,500 seating capacity, established in 1962 as the first modern secondary school. Federal College of Education, Zaria, has more than 30,000 students. In Kaduna, Garba Muhammad Nata'ala, NTA News.
Governor Nasru Ahmad El-Rufai of Kaduna State has given the assurance to the people of the state that the first phase of Zaria water project will be completed by the end of this year to bring an end to the persistent water problem in the area and its environs. Malam Nasru El-Rufai stated this during a working visit to the project site. Muhammad Lawal Baba reports.
Malam Nasru El-Rufai was at the water treatment plant in Zaria local government area, where work has reached an advanced stage. The governor said expansion of the water project is necessary to curtail the perennial water problem. He commended the contractor handling the project and advised him to meet the deadline.
We hope that this project will be finally concluded by December 2016. But this is just the water treatment plant and associated works. We still need the pipe work. We need the water storage tanks for the people of Zaria, Sabongari, and 6 other local governments to get water.
At the project site of the water booster station, work is moving as expected. When completed, it will supply 12 million liters of water, and 8 local government areas of the state will benefit from it, as 2 additional booster stations will be provided.
This is not just Zaria water project. This is Zaria and other local governments' water project. So it's a very important project, and for us, it is the most important project in the state that we inherited, and we intend to see it to completion. And this is why we'll keep visiting regularly to make sure everything's on course.
Governor Nasru El-Rufai has given the assurance that by the end of this year, the first phase of the project will be completed. He reiterated that provision of potable water is one of the priority areas of his administration. The Zaria water project has been lingering without completion for more than 12 years. In Kaduna, Muhammad Lawal Baba, NTA News.
And that does it from Kaduna. It's back to you, Lydia, for more on the Nationwide. Good afternoon.
We thank you for your contribution. We now take a commercial break. Nationwide continues in a moment. Stay with us.
Hear a bomb explosion or gunshots of an active shooter. That might be a terror attack. At such times, always remember 3 action words. Run, hide, report. Don't try to run towards the terror scene to save the situation, because there might be a second bomb blast or another attack. Run far away and take cover. Make sure you are safe first. Yes, it is in our nature to sympathize over the hurt, but remember, only trained personnel can help in such situations. When in a secured environment, promptly call relevant authorities and help will come. For anonymous reporting, call 09630-3250-5 or 0813-2222-106. If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
We must kill corruption before corruption will kill us.
If your leader is a kind of person that you look at him and say, if it is so and so, I'm okay. You can go to sleep, you close your 2 eyes and sleep. Then you know you are making progress.
Now you have a leader who will not condone corruption at all. He has zero tolerance of corruption. That alone makes some kind of fear for every Nigerian now.
The most critical index that we should look at is attitudinal change, moral education, respect for law and order. These two have disappeared from Nigeria. Now, this is what we must emphasize in the new Nigeria that we must leave behind.
Yes, this is the clarion call in the vanguard for a new Nigeria.
Nigeria will yellow. For 2017, Nigeria will join body with every other country for this world to enter the battle what they call digital broadcasting. This digital broadcasting is better pass those time when we say we will go outside, go to Tonton TV, and not be that one. You go sit down for your comfort now. You go watch better. The TV go clear way. The people with this side go clear way. The sound man go come out well. If channel say go increase the local TV waiting for the Obodo Nigeria side go come out face where come clear well. My people. Nigeria, they enter digital.
Nigeria going digital. Nigeria's going digital.
Brothers and sisters. Though we speak different languages and celebrate different cultures, we were still one Nigeria. There was no bombing, there was no kidnapping, and our children were not cultists. Now, we suspect one another as there are spreads of cultism, bombing, and kidnapping. How long shall this go on? Terrorism is alien, kidnapping is criminal, cultism is barbaric. Nigeria is a blessed country. Support the Nigeria Police and the fight against terrorism, kidnapping and cultism. Always inform the police of any incident around you. Say something when you suspect something.
Remember, we all have a stake in building a crime-free Nigeria of our dream.
This message is from the Nigeria Police Force.
Are you aware that the death percentage attributed to Lassa fever cases is currently put at 43.2%, a figure considered very high? Lassa fever, an acute viral illness characterized by high fever, muscle aches, mouth ulcers and bleeding in the skin, is harbored by rats and spread to humans via the urine and droppings of rats. To prevent Lassa fever, avoid any exposure with rodents, rats, as well as food and objects contaminated with rat secretions and excretions. Report all suspected cases of Lassa fever immediately to the nearest healthcare institution. Help prevent Lassa fever. This message is from the Federal Government of Nigeria.
Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons objects and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria, unite against terrorism.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
This week on Airtel Touching Lives, we visit Folusho Pamilerin, who was crippled in a motorcycle accident in 2012.
I'm very happy, at least I can move around now, not as when I'm stuck at home.
And we meet a woman that was beaten by her husband and then abandoned with the children.
I just told myself that I have to survive.
Alternative Dispute Resolution, ADR mechanism, is the focus on NTA Tuesday Live this week. ADR as panacea to court congestion with those who should know. Tuesday Live, informative, educative and engaging, done to be told. Join us.
Welcome back. This is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Let's join me now in our Port Harcourt Network Center for more details as Rivers State Government takes additional measures on security. Hello, Mina. Good to see you.
Good to see you too here, Lydia. Good afternoon and welcome to Port Harcourt. As efforts continue in different directions to curtail the spread of Lassa fever in the country, a non-governmental organization is already collaborating with some local communities in Rivers State on adequate awareness and sensitization on the disease. One of such communities is the Andoni local government area, where the campaign has been taken to primary and post-primary schools in the local government. Dibabare Seduma has the report.
We have been told the causes and the preventive measures.
We have been educated more about Lassa fever, how it comes into place, and how we are going to apply the preventive measures.
If the response of this student is anything to go by, one can say for sure that the one-day Lassa fever prevention campaign and distribution of non-contact thermometer and hand sanitizers was a huge success. After educating participating pupils, students, school teachers and health workers on lifestyles needed to prevent the disease, medical doctors at the event also demonstrated to participants the best ways to use hand sanitizers and the infrared thermometer to check the temperature of people without coming in contact with them. The event was organized at the instance of Right Honorable Ikunyo Wajibani.
I know the condition of my people, and I don't have to wait for Lassa fever to ravage our people, but for me to take proactive measures to make sure we stem such tide.
For them, this gesture is good and illustrates a concern for the well-being of the Obolo people in Rivers State, a gesture that deserves reciprocation. The event featured presentation of hand sanitizers and infrared thermometers to all primary and secondary schools, as well as health centers in Andoni local government area. From Ngo, Andoni local government area of Rivers State, Diba Barisiedoma, NTA News.
Rivers State Police Command says the curfew imposed in 4 local governments of the state was to further prevent killings of innocent people by rival cult groups in the affected areas. State Commissioner of Police Musa Kimo disclosed this while explaining to the curfew imposed on the 4 local governments by Governor Nyeso Wike. Emmanuel Lene reports.
Over the past 1 year, incidents of intercourt rivalries, kidnapping and armed robbery activities have been on the increase in Abuja Odwa, Ahoda East and West, and Ogba Egbema Ndon local government areas. Already, over 12 persons, assorted rifles and other ammunition have been either arrested or recovered, but the activities of these hoodlums seem not to abate. To stem the tide of criminal activities in the areas, which has led to loss of lives and complete abandonment of some communities, the state government imposed a 5 p.m. to 8 a.m. curfew on the 4 local governments.
The governor, in his wisdom, after a marathon security council meeting, he, in his wisdom, came to a conclusion, and we unanimously agreed that the best way to checkmate the activities of these hoodlums is to temporarily restrict the movement and or use of the Okada riders within that period.
He, however, called for reliable information from residents to enable the police take proactive measures to curb crime in the state. In Port Harcourt, Emmanuel Lene, NTA News.
And that's our bit from Port Harcourt. Lydia, is back to you for a continuation of Nationwide.
Many thanks, Mina. The physically challenged in Ibadan celebrate Valentine's Day. For this and other stories, let's join Kemi in our Ibadan Network Center. Over to you, Kemi.
Thank you, Lydia, and welcome to Ibadan. Consumers of bread in Ibadan have decried the increase in the cost of the food item, which is one of the cheapest sources of carbohydrate. Oyeyinka Falaromi has a situation report.
NTA News observed that an increase of 10 to 20 naira is placed on a loaf of bread from the bakers before it gets to retailers when compared to what it used to be.
The price has increased. Formerly it used to be 200 naira, but now I bought each one for 250 naira. They were buying it, but not as before.
Bakers explained that the development has forced them to reduce production level as major ingredients like wheat flour, yeast and sugar have become exorbitant due to falling rate of naira.
The price of flour is too cost. One bag of flour now is 8,200 from cat factory.
It's because of the money way bad. Our naira is no good at all by this time.
Other Nigerians believe that urgent steps should be taken before the situation degenerates further.
Small kids, they like bread with tea, and some people cannot afford the bread again. So the only thing that I can say that the government should help us.
The industrialization level in Nigeria is not as high. Most of these things should be produced here, not going now to fetch for it.
They therefore called on concerned authorities to prioritize goods to be affected by foreign exchange policy in Ibadan. Oyeyinka Folaranmi, NTA News.
In the spirit of Valentine's Day celebration, over 1,000 physically challenged in Oyo State have received aids to enhance their socioeconomic well-being. Respondent Rafia Animashan reports.
Some of the physically challenged who came crawling went back with wheelchairs, while some were supported with artificial limbs. Scholarship was also awarded to some less privileged and free eye tests in eyeglasses to those with eye defects. Many lives were touched one way or the other.
So Sugar is saying, my people's ability, this is what you need. I'm providing for you. That's significant of the day.
I want to just urge all Nigerians to also play their own role in making sure that these people gain a new bit of freedom that will display a tune attachment to the definition of democracy.
With this condition, we have ability to rule everybody.
Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, who was moved by the gesture, said the federal government will henceforth support the initiative.
We have a disability policy in the country, and we want to make sure that we all implement this disability policy. The disability policy has inherent guidelines to assisting people to access buildings, to access medical care, and to receive care that is appropriate for their condition.
Chairman, Urban Development and Regional Planning, House of Representatives, Honorable Temitope Olatoye said, the program is to change lives and improve the standard of living of the physically challenged and the less privileged who seem to have been neglected in the society.
We have abandoned a bill which has gone through the first reading, second reading. It's only the third reading, and it will become a law very soon now. The bill
in Ibadan, Rafia Animashan, NTA News.
And that's a contribution from Ibadan. Lydia, is back to you.
Many thanks, Kemi. Now let's go global. Libya's warring factions agree to new unity government, and Australia's authority refuses to heed protesters' call for asylum seeker baby to stay. For details of this, let's join Chimdima Ndubisi on Global Tidbits.
Progress has been recorded at Libya's peace talks in Morocco as rival parliaments proposed a new unity government. A list of 18 proposed ministers has been compiled and forwarded to the internationally recognized parliament for approval. The United Nations brokered the peace talks. And with just days to the presidential election in Uganda, the main opposition candidate was detained for 2 hours but later released as he was heading to a university for a rally. Officials say he violated traffic rules. In Angola, health officials report that at least 51 people have died of yellow fever since the outbreak of the disease less than 2 months ago. 240 people are infected. In another development, the deteriorating relations between Russia and Ukraine is affecting trade. The two countries barred lorries from passing through each other's territory. This has grounded lorries carrying goods. That's Global Tidbits. Chimdema Ndubisi, NTA News.
Next is sports. Interim Board of Nigeria Women's Football League calls for election into the body as UEFA Champions League round of 16 begins on Tuesday. Amanzi Marcus has the details on Sports Update.
Club owners and managers of Nigeria Women's Football League say they will not participate in the 2015-2016 football season until election into the Women's League Board is conducted. Tenure of the Dilichukwu Onyedimas-led board expired in November 2015, and the Nigeria Football Federation is planning to appoint board members instead of conducting fresh elections. Interim chairman of the Nigeria Women's Football League is Audu Nuhu, chairman of Nasarawa Amazons FC of Lafia.
We need to have our Congress before the league starts, because it is when we have our Congress that we decide the date that the league will start, we decide the date, the amount that will be paid as a registration fee. We also decide on teams that will be relegated. All these ones have not been done.
General Secretary of the Nigeria Football Federation, Mohammed Sanusi, said he cannot comment on their demands, and it now remains to be seen whether the Women's League season